Good morning, everybody. It's 10:50. It is Thursday, second video of the week. We're going to get right into it and be as precise as possible with the plays that we have going this week and setting ourselves up for next week, making sure we're one step ahead. Yesterday, we had Fed minutes come out. Fed minutes were kind of like discussed prior in the market. Ultimately, it is the belief some people still continue to have the stance that we are going to get potential rate hikes. I disagree. I don't think it's going to happen. Inflation data doesn't look all that bad. However, the resurgence of the conflict between Iran and America, which we bombed Iran yesterday because they bombed some of our guys in the Strait of Hormuz, has created a temporary spike in oil, though I think it's very temporary. I'm going to start there because oil is down today. But I kind of want to go into this because I get probably some of the most questions I get are on oil. Look, this is not a healthy oil chart. That just so you know, there is a gap here, but that gap is really nothing. This is not a chart where you're just like, wow, this is where you got to go long oil. The only reason you go long oil is if you have a belief or a thesis that the conflict is going to continue to push gas prices up. Oil prices up. I'm not in that camp. I'm still short oil. I actually added to my oil short yesterday and the day before. I did unload quite a bit of it here. So I trade around a core position. So I'm going to go to the name that I'm trading the most when it comes to oil. And it's down again today. So that means I'm up today. But so, look, if you're looking at this from a technical perspective, let's just go strictly technical. If this was a stock, though technicals don't necessarily always apply to oil. 200 is down here. That would have been your typical level of support. If I was drawing lines and I had support levels, maybe I would say this is a support level only because actually not necessarily. I don't have my demand zones up as well from volume, but in any case, somebody could say this is capitulation. You could say there's a gap to fill here and we might get to 72. Look, I'm perfectly fine for the record. If this gets to 42 here, I'm going to short it even harder and harder and harder. I added to my short yesterday and the day before. I'm not going to cover any of it. 3% is not enough of a move. I think this is going to break down and fall down even further. So with that said, I'm still short oil. This is not financial advice, but rather for educational purposes. You do what you feel is best. I'm going to stay short and I'm going to stay short UCO. Okay. Overall market, as you can see, the backdrop is up, but let's go ahead and talk about the NASDAQ as that is the most important index. And we want the tailwinds of the index at our back to help us with stock selecting. So today up 1%, we are creeping over converging moving averages, which I do have to say, I love the converging moving averages. Super healthy. Pedestrian volume last week. Look, this is the summer. Just for the record, trading is lighter during the summer months. And that's always that way. People, institutional hedge fund managers are gone. Other people are on vacation. Trading is always thinner during the summer months. It's you get less volume typically. However, these days of distribution that we saw going back to earlier this week and last week, they were really on low volume. And one of the reasons I remained bullish is because I am a historical kind of guy. And when you see these distribution days on low volume, really not making lower lows in any real violent fashion, I stayed on green. I know some people that went to yellow. I stayed green. I'm green. I've been admiring and buying these dips in many cases. And that's been what I've done. So, but again, I can't tell anybody what to do. These videos are strictly to document my progress and then to help people individually indicate certain stocks and setups that maybe they feel is conducive for their strategy. Gold up 1% today. This chart looks terrible, though I still think if you're a risk reward guy, this isn't terrible to start a position in gold if you don't have gold. I'm not going to spend much time on that as I'm not trading gold. Bitcoin, again, I talked about the Michael Saylor indicator. For me, he announced that he sold Monday. He sold a bunch through MicroStrategy. Instantly, the Bitcoin went up. Now, that is truly my form of capitulation, is when Michael Saylor starts to get liquidated and starts selling. I think that's the sign that we are going to make our next move up. I increased my dollar cost averaging on Saturday, as I mentioned. This is still not ripe for a trade, but I will mention it when it is ripe for a trade, and that's it. I don't trade any of these other crypto things, just so you know. Everybody always asks me. I don't believe in any of it. I don't trade it. There's only one coin that matters to me, and that's Bitcoin, and that's how it's always going to be. If you text me about XRP, I'm probably not even going to respond to you because it doesn't really do anything for me. I don't give a shit about any of these other coins. I think they're all fugazis and all that. All right, moving along. Okay, so we did Bitcoin, we did oil. Now let's jump into stocks. Let's start off with the real winner of the week. I posted this on Instagram yesterday. So I mentioned on my video on Monday, I had conviction in Penguin. Penguin had earnings Wednesday night, and I'm going to get a lot of, I want to take a second to talk about this. So I embraced these dips and I bought these dips. Admittedly, I bought almost every single one. I don't advocate for that. I just sometimes intuition, I have to use my gut, and my gut was telling me based off of one, technicals, and two, fundamentals, that this stock was a $100 stock, and I stick to that. So what did I do? Wednesday, I sold 30% of my position at 355 right before the market closed. You would ask me why if I have conviction. Well, it's a risk event. I have no desire I'm always in the game to protect my capital. So I always manage downside risk. I'm not a YOLO kind of guy. I'm very strategic with the way I like to invest. So I sold 30%. However, because psychologically, I didn't want to miss an upward move, I went ahead and bought $70 strike prices out to next Friday. I think I bought like 10 or 15 of them. Relatively light position of calls, but I bought them. Sold half of them yesterday morning for 50% gain. Sold the other half in the afternoon for about a 90% gain. Worked out pretty good. Not trying to toot my own horn. What did I also do yesterday? Some people think I'm crazy. I bought back everything I sold the day before and more. That's my rule. If I sell going into earnings and I have a good move, I buy back and I buy back more. This was a breakout. I said it on my video on Monday. Over 77 was your pivot point. That is a true breakout. You've got to buy. Stock was up 25% yesterday. I bought a lot at 25%. So what does that tell you? You don't have to be scared to buy a stock when it's up 25%. Like if there's a rhythm and a rhyme to that, you do that. Now, granted, this is a little bit of a gap, but I wouldn't worry about that. I want to point out your attention of yesterday's earnings. They beat top line, they beat bottom line, EPS, and they guided forward tremendously. And they're in a sector that's very conducive for growth. They had the highest volume recorded yesterday. Look at their average volume traded is that number, 3.47 million is their average shares traded in a day. They superseded 14 million yesterday traded. Let that set in, okay? I mentioned it, I text a couple people. I put it on my Instagram. I put the go because this was a buy yesterday and now we're up 13%. So again, this is my words for you to embrace. When you have breakouts and pivot points, you buy the breakout. You buy the pivot point move. And when it broke out, this is going straight to $100. I could be wrong. It's worked out so far. And for those of you that I know are in this and you've made good money, congratulations. Please send me a bottle of Macallan 25. All right, moving along. Dell, I've advocated for Dell. I talked about it. Trump has been pumping his chest. I ended up adding more shares yesterday. Stock was up 2% yesterday. I think one of the things that I'm not to beat a dead horse. So many people I communicate with are like, I'll wait for a pullback to buy. I'll wait till it goes down to buy. Look, you can't always do that, like, especially in markets like this. Like, I know you want to do that, and I know that is psychologically how people feel better about it when they wait for those times, but doesn't necessarily apply to your strategy. Up 3% yesterday. I added another 20% to my position. I have a large position here in Dell. If you're looking for your trigger point and your breakout point, it is 470. That's your trigger buy point for those of you that are looking for confirmation. I'm in it, only what I'm telling you I've done. Okay. Moving right along. I'm going to jump into, we're in Dell, let's do Intel. I have definitely not been right about Intel thus far. I've squandered some profit. Your move on Monday would have been to sell this, no doubt about it. If you're a technical trader, crossing through the 50, yeah, you'd be triggered to sell this. However, I told you guys a couple of weeks ago, I removed my stop loss on this, and this is more of a conviction thing for me than a technical thing for me. This had some news with Samsung's earnings, which had an effect. The whole DeepSeek story that came out, you see it here. It says the whole AI startup DeepSeek. Yeah. Whatever. This is a double bottom, formed a cup. Is trying to form the handle, and I'm looking for an upward move. Admittedly, Admittedly, I would be wrong if it gets below 104. If it makes a lower low, at that point, I probably would be forced to sell and take a loss. Though I think long term, this is going much higher. But I would manage my risk below 104. I don't think I'm going to be wrong. But at the moment, I'm probably just slightly up on this stock where I was at one point up 30%. So manage your money. Don't do what I do, I guess. I don't know. I can't get them all right. You can't make everybody happy. All right, Sandisk moving right along. Another name for me that I just refused to sell on Tuesday. Should have sold Tuesday, Monday. That would have been the term, is to say sell it. Technically, it's breaking down. I didn't do it. Going against my own advice. And 90% of the time I stick to my rules. I set stops. There's a couple stocks where, like, leaders of the market, like Sandisk, where the chart doesn't look terrible. A temporary undercut of the 50 is not going to worry me. I also use other more indicator-based charts that I'm not pulling up right now. And there was a lot of areas of support, and it filled the gap, and I like it. I'm still holding it. It's up 8% today. I'm either going to look like a superstar or an idiot. I have made a lot of money in this stock. Admittedly, I've done very, very, very well with Sandisk, so I'm willing to roll the dice there, and I'm holding my full position. And admittedly, I did buy a dip or two this week. Yeah, talking out of both sides of my mouth here, but I did buy a dip or two. Micron's chart looks better than Sandisk because it never undercut the 50. I don't own it. If I was advocating to buy one and kind of giving you as an individual advice, yeah, I probably would buy Micron over Sandisk. I just like Sandisk movement. I think it's the true leader. But what Micron has done, this is exactly what it did here, and it's doing it again, by the way. This is textbook what it's done. And I know so many people that were like screaming top. I don't think so. I really, really don't think so. I really don't think so, and I really would like to buy this back. But because of my conviction in Penguin and Sandisk, I have to limit how much AI exposure I want. I'm not interested in completely going balls deep in every... I probably shouldn't say that on YouTube, balls deep, but anyways, whatever, it's been said. Okay, moving right along, let's stick with this sector. Let me tell you what I do like, AMD. So I mentioned this, I sold my position a couple weeks ago. I bought some very long dated calls. My calls are doing okay. I haven't really checked them. They're like a year and a half rate. I'm going to have to buy this back. I very well could buy this again today. I own this in my IRA, but this is another one that was one of my best trades last year, another great trade this year. I'm going to have to buy this back. There's just no way I'm not going to buy this back. So I'm buying this back. This looks fantastic. Even with the small correction, never undercut the 50. This looks better than Intel in the same market. So I'm going to buy this back. This is not financial advice, educational purposes. This looks fantastic. So where are we now? Are we moving into biotech? I think that's all I own in that space. God, Sandisk looks strong today. Very strong. Jeez. RS, a couple people asked me about this, just pulling it up just for... Look great. Looks fantastic. If you like a small stock, I've been advocating for this for a couple weeks. I'm up like 50, 60% on this. I think you could buy this. Earnings are coming up soon. Yeah, I like this. Okay, moving along. Liquidia. So I got in this a little bit earlier than some people did. Some people just got in this week, and they're like, it hasn't done anything wrong, guys. Look at this. It's literally riding the 5-day moving average. It hasn't done anything wrong. What I did see was... It doesn't show here because it's not updated. BlackRock updated their position and bought a lot more. This still looks good to me. This isn't as sexy. So what this travels is tight. You see this? This is a tight traveling move. This was the only loose, and that was on earnings. This is a buy. This is a $100 stock to me all day. Staying in the biotech theme, I'm going to take you into IMNM, which looks fantastic. Clay Siegel dying to get bought here. This is a conviction name of mine for 2026. I'm pretty heavy in this name. I'm waiting for the buyout and hopefully make myself some money. I think they're going to get bought out for 70, 80 bucks a share. Looks great. Riding the average. Love it. Nothing to do here. Easy hold. Staying in this sector, TGTX. TGTX looks phenomenal. I mean, just absolutely phenomenal. I've been pounding my chest for weeks to buy this stock, for all of you to buy this, but I can't give financial advice. I mean, it's breaking out today. I mean, it's literally on breakout mode. Yeah, I own it. And nothing to do but just to hold it. Looks like a pretty stellar hold at the moment. I mean, you could buy it, to be completely honest with you. If you're looking for an entry, you can buy this. I mean, it's not really that far extended, and relative to its peers, it's pretty inexpensive. GV, I mean, I'm just going to point it out. I'm still in Tesla, though Tesla is not a swing trader's. I mean, this is just a choppy mess. Look, I like it, but this sucks. I mean, obviously it's going nowhere for the last couple of months, and I've lost patience. I'm not down on it. I'm not really up on it. I'm probably like even. It hasn't done anything for me. So whatever. I still own it. Just pointing it out. IGV, pointing this out as well. IGV, I mean, came back the last 2 days. I think software is going to rage. I mean, just to give you an idea, software, this ETF was in the 120 range before. And I think this is good for $105, $110 a share if you're looking for calls. I probably would play this in calls. Maybe some long dated options. I own shares only because it's more so just kind of some exposure that I wanted to have to software. I didn't have enough exposure to software, so I wanted some more. But as you can see, that's pretty much all I own, and I'm pretty concentrated in my names, and I'm really letting these couple names that I have run. You know, this is my last video of the week. I kind of want to just go ahead and say that, you know, obviously pay attention to the geopolitical news. That ultimately is what's going to move and drive oil. For those of you that are oil bulls, I think you guys are putzes, honestly. I mean, if I'm being completely honest, you guys are all putzes if you're an oil bull. I know so many people that try to troll me about oil, and they sound half retarded. But anyways, yeah, that's it. That's all I got. I hope you guys are making some money. Well, shit, I know you guys are making some money because I know you guys are making money. So I'm happy to be the conduit to your money making. Feel free to say thank you to your boy here. All right, guys, that's it. I hope you all have a great weekend and keep your eye on the prize.